I'm praying to the gods of radio.
Uh, so you're playing to Larry Lujak and Dan Ingram and Arthur Godfrey and who else are the
Well,
gods of radio?
I
Who
was
are,
going more for the engineering side. Ernie Hopsicker and Guglielmo Marconi and Nikola Tesla. You know, the guys who had the technical stuff down. Kelly Alford. Uh, uh, Boy, I'm trying to think of. I'm forgetting. I mean, a whole group of engineers, and we had them. Uh, you know, all throughout our careers, we had engineers who was the guy at CBS
Shingo Kamada.
Shingo Kamada at CBS who when things went wrong we could just call and say Shingo, please help us. um, Tom, please help
I
us.
was I was there on a day at CBS Los Angeles when KFWB and KNX shared a workspace where the engineer did not answer, and we had no audio. We couldn't play sound. We couldn't play commercials, but we could read the news. And so they printed out the news and they just read it until the problem was fixed. Interesting thing about that was it turned out to be great radio because the story was there. It was up to the anchor to give it life. And people were not calling in and saying, "What about the sound? What about Pete Demetrio in the field? What about the sports sound? What about this? What about the traffic sounder? It's 5 after traffic and weather together. We did it all just by talking, and it was a proud moment in modern radio where all the bells and whistles had been taken away from you, and all you had was the story that was printed out for you.
Right?
And
You had to actually physically become a storyteller.
you had to I think we probably got more news on that day than otherwise, because you could listen to an all news station and after they do traffic and weather together and a couple spots and a couple more spots and a tease for something coming up this afternoon, there's no time for the news. And that happens a lot in news talk. You'd be surprised how often a segment goes by without any news within it.
Right, because it's so driven by revenue that they have to cram. I mean, they got to be running what, a 20 spot an hour load or something like that, 18 spots an hour. You got to put them somewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, that's 18 minutes an hour of solid commercials.
And the idea that an all news station, the concept when it was first floated by Westinghouse and KFWB and Winds switched their formats and went all news, people said there's not enough news. There's just not enough. There's no way you're going to be able to do an hour, let alone 24
Yeah,
hours.
watch us.
And the funny thing is, turned out to be there was too much news, and all the other elements of the hour sucked sucked the news away from the format. The news simply became secondary to the format, and that's where it remains today, sadly.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was. I mean, I remember when Wins first went on the air, 1965, and because Wins had been a rock and roll station, and they decided
As
that they
had
were going
as
to,
had KFWB.
yeah, and they decided that they were going to go over to this new all news format. And I remember my father liking it, and me feeling bad that I couldn't listen to who was it, Murray VK, from 7 to 10 at night, with the fifth Beatle. It was, you know, it was just now quickly other people took up the mantle, and there was actually three rock and roll stations in New York at that point anyway. So I mean, you just had to switch over the dial. You still got your rock and roll on ABC or WMCA,
Funny thing is,
but
that's
it
what
was
there's a good example of that happening in Seattle right now, where there was no country stations, and then one day, the next day, there were three.
Well, what lesson do we learn from that about people in radio? That they all go to the same
Monkeys,
place?
monkey see, monkey do.
They tap each other's phones? I don't know. Well, you know what? It's good that there's two country stations because that means the people that were disgusted that don't want to listen to country may come and listen to us. Click us on us for a day. He's Michael Knight. He's down in Pasadena, California. I'm New York Vinnie. I'm up here in Seattle. Together we are Mikey and Vinnie. Michael Knight in New York Vinnie. If you haven't met us before, because we've been gone for like a week and change, almost 2 weeks. They tell you in radio never take a 2 week vacation
And I'm
because
back, but I'm not whole. I will say,
yeah,
as
well we
as
started by being sick. I caught COVID, then you caught COVID, um, and I had an infect. Just a myriad of health issues going on, and I guess the bottom line that we can learn from the whole thing, Michael, is don't take COVID for granted. It's still out there, and it's still kicking people's ass.
it will kick your ass. It's not as exotic as I probably thought it was at one time. In other words, you feel like you've got the flu. Nothing special about that, except that it weakens you and it just has a way of staying with you for longer than you would expect. And I don't recommend it. It's I'm still not 100% in terms of vitality and strength
Yeah,
and
yeah,
appetite.
I'm kind of
It's a
feeling
good
the same
diet.
way
Kristen is still taking her um, Paxlovid. She has
because if
another
it's
two
COVID, it's Paxlovid.
Paxlovid, and you better believe that. And it's hard to get in Pasadena, as I mentioned the other day when we had a very short show because of technical difficulties. The pharmacies are low on it right now. That is my personal experience,
No, it was
and
up here too. Same thing.
but you've got to get that into your system. As awful as it tastes and as upsetting to the stomach as it is to some people, get that in your system. Take it as soon
Well,
as you can.
yeah, it's so well. Number one, it only works if you get it within a certain amount of time. But number two is that it so mitigates the effects of COVID. I mean, I can't imagine what it must have been like, and thank God I never found out what it must have been like to have COVID
Back in the day,
4 years ago, 3 years
yeah.
ago, when it was raging. I mean, you just think it was 4 short years ago that you couldn't go out of the house, and that the birds that are singing outside you had to open the door and kind of listen. You couldn't walk among them. So we have come an incredible amount of knowledge in the timeline. But boy, oh boy, I just I'm glad if I was going to get it, and I didn't want it, but I got it. I'm glad that if I was going to get it, that I got it now instead of back then.
One of the aspects of COVID that does not get discussed a lot is that it keeps evolving. And the reason that Vinny and I both came down with it so late in the game is because the evolution of the COVID to the new strains, which are being called the flirt strain, as in to flirt with someone. There's two new strains. It's a 1.1 and a 1.2. And besides being the fact that they've mutated and made the COVID virus more dangerous, it's 20% more communicable than the old versions. And those were, remember, exemplifying a very, very, very communicable disease that was extraordinarily contagious. And now, even more so. And there's no way to describe it except you get it in a hurry, and it lasts for a long while. So be prepared for that. Go shopping with your mask if you still have a mask. I
Well,
don't know what
yeah,
else I can give you in terms of advice.
I think it's don't take it for granted. I think that's we tend to, and I did fall into this kind of, well, it's not going to get me, and sure enough, and what angers me about it is, I got it by when I went up to Canada. I gave my daughter and her friend a ride back from Vancouver Airport, and her friend had it, and she was
That's that.
coughing in the car, and I didn't. And here's the funny thing: is I took a mask with me and put it in the glove compartment. And I was going to say, well, maybe I should wear the mask. They just came in from it being in the airport. And the heck with it. I'll just ride with the window open. And the germs that give you the COVID, the virus said, oh no, we swim upstream, man.
Yeah,
we,
we can. Well, we'll meet you halfway. We're glad to accommodate you.
yeah, you remember those Superman things you used to watch where he used to fly, and well, we do the same thing. And kryptonite is not going to help you. So, and a lesson learned. If you're out there this summer or this spring, I'm not saying that you have to wear a mask, but I am saying if somebody's coughing and wheezing next to you, or if you're going to CVS or Walgreens or something like that, that might be a good place to wear a mask because there are a whole number of people there that probably are carrying it, or it's in the air, or it's somewhere.
And did your daughter get it too?
No, she did not get it,
Wow.
and she hasn't had it. She must have my mom's good Irish genes or her mom's good Portuguese genes because she did not get it. Luckily, which I'm glad because we hate to the one thing we hate to see more than ourselves suffer is our kids suffer.
Yeah.
You always feel like you're helpless with something like this. So anyway, let's see where since we last did a full show, which was will be 2 weeks ago, Friday. Let's see. The world is at peace. COVID is eliminated. The presidential election has been settled, and they're being nice to each other. Donald Trump has won a Humanitarian of the Year award, and
He always wins that award.
yeah, especially because it's the Donald Trump Humanitarian of the Year award.
Right.
And what else is settled? Oh, and we have Europe has become a hotbed of assassinations and armed takeovers.
Well, it's if you look at European history, there is a tendency toward violence, overthrows, kingly nonsense, and invasions of one country by another over its border.
Right. Which leads me to
Clinton
wonder,
done.
Michael. You know, we expect that this stuff is not going to happen anymore. That we're in a civilized world, and we have we're supposed to sit and talk to people, but not everybody is on that ship. A guy like Putin, he says, "I'm not sitting and talking to anybody. I'll let my troops do my talking." Are we naive as Americans to think that this part of history is over? This guns and armaments and troops and people dying and moving borders. I mean, in my lifetime, that Austro-Hungary, Serbo-Croatia region has changed 6 times.
You haven't got a Yugoslavia or a Czechoslovakia anymore. They're
Yeah,
gone.
you have if you have a globe that you had in the sixth grade, forget about it. It doesn't work anymore.
Take a look at Africa from the 1930s to the 1940s. Yeah, all changed. All the colonial names have gone.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing is settled, but nothing is as it was.
So are we the fools for thinking that the rest of the world was going to fall into this kind of American everything's okay, mom, apple pie, and Chevrolet uh, kind of deal, and that we're being naive about it,
Well,
or
we just assume that nothing's going to change, that everything is settled, everything is convenient to our needs, everything has been argued over and negotiated, and now this is the way it's going to be. And that invariably is a disappointing position to arrive at because it's not really truly settled. It's not settled to everyone's satisfaction. And the Middle East is a good example of that in terms of what we thought post World War One. We divided up the area, created Iran, created Iraq, created new borders for Syria, created new borders for Lebanon, created new borders for Palestine on a coffee table without consulting anyone. And they just drew in the new borders and said, there we go, that's settled. Let's go to lunch. And it were those decisions that contributed as much as anything to the instability of the Middle East. And then our good friends, the Israelis, are taking care of the rest of it in terms of instability and pigheadedness and choosing war over peace and choosing death over the existence of an entire people's. It's easy to choose death. It's easy to choose violence. It is
yeah.
it's
Well,
the way to go.
you know,
It's the way to go if you're in a hurry and you want to settle it before lunch.
and did they choose this, or did the Hamas people choose it by coming over their border back on October, whatever it was, 8th, and slaughtering all of those Israelis? I mean, who
Yes, yes,
who
yes
made
to
the
both your
choice?
both sides have made a choice.
And that's it.
And
I mean, we want to cut it into one side or the other, and the situations over there, and I think we forget about them because we're so isolated over here. Um, Usually, there's enough blame to go around for everybody, right?
always in that area, in that neighborhood. The good thing about it
Yeah.
is neither side will accept responsibility or accept the consequences of the furtherance of their hatred for one another. That's the one thing that sustains the area. We hate these guys. We're going to eliminate them from the face of the earth. It's funny how they both come up with the same solution. Well, what's the solution to this problem? We kill them all. Oh, well, that's going to take some time. Better get started. Well, we have started. Yeah, we haven't killed them all, but we've made a good effort at killing them all. And we know where the rest of them are, and we're going to kill them. And then we can say that the world is Hamas free. Well, that's never going to happen, as you know. All you're doing is creating more fighters. You're creating more rebels. You're creating more reaction. You're creating the next atrocity. You're creating the next border draw. You're creating the next violence. And it doesn't seem to matter who is prime minister or who's the political head of the Hamas the political arrangement. It just doesn't matter. Fill in the name later. They all come up with the same solution.
Well, they want to hold on to power. That's the currency you have there is power.
And
Who do you
first,
control? How many
power
blocks of a
comes from
neighborhood?
violence.
And life is
Cheap.
cheap over there. Here we value, or it seems like we value life. I mean, it's hard to say that with a straight face when there's 300 million guns in the neighborhood, but there just seems to be a difference in that dynamic. I don't know. I mean, I haven't been there, so I don't know if they value life more than we do, less than we do, whatever. I know that it's a situation that we're dumping tons of money into, and a lot of kids are getting killed. And it would just seem that both sides should be able to say, okay, this happened. We exacted our revenge. What do we do? How do we stop this? How do we stop killing people? How do we get to a place where we don't have to kill each other to get along, where we can go to a big
I
table
don't
and
think
argue about things?
I don't think either side wants to be in a position where they can't kill one another. It
Yeah.
is the first stop on the local uptown version of what do we do today in the Middle East. Well, first let's kill one another, then we'll take a break for lunch. Remember Eddie Izzard's Pol Pot calendar? Murder, 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 lunch, murder, 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 murder.
Yeah, it's sad. We're not gonna be able to straighten it out. It's just I guess it's one of the things that you notice when you're when you just look at a situation and you try to figure it out, or try to at least say, well, why is this happening? Why is that happening? And the causes and the roots are so deep that you could sit there all day and it's easy to say, well, if they hadn't come over the border and killed people, but this is something that's been going on with Israel and their neighbors for years and years and years. Now they've resolved it with some of the neighbors, but there are certain people, certain of their neighbors, which are sworn to kill them, the Israelis. And I guess if somebody was swearing to kill me, I'd want to get them before they get me, right?
It's a perfectly sensible defense. It just doesn't hold up to logic over the length of time that we've seen both sides employ it. What's
Yeah.
wrong with both of you people? Well, they've got atrocities to avenge, an eye for an eye, and they're not finished with it. They'll never be finished with it because
No, everybody's got two
it's
eyes, right?
everybody is on board with this. Even the peaceniks in Israel that would love to have Netanyahu out don't have the power to pull it off. The parliamentary structure of their government is perfectly suited to them right now because there are so many factions it takes to form a government that you've always got a war cabinet that's willing to vote for more war, more atrocities, more getting even, more revenge.
Yes, it's not hard to find people who want to shoot up each other over there, or want to nuke each other, or want to, say that death is the only option.
Well, there's one
The only
other
thing we can
option, and that
really
is they
do
have
here
to,
is kill the other guy.
but we have to wait for the shipment from the U.S. so we have the means to do what we intend to do. We were going to kill you yesterday, but we didn't have the bombs that we needed, so we're waiting for the shipment to come, and then we'll gladly kill you next Tuesday.
Right, and the other side is waiting for their shipment from Iran so they can kill the other side. Yeah, it's it's a little frustrating. You know what else is
You know,
frustrating, Michael? That damn hat you're wearing.
I'm wearing it because the Giants have yet to beat the Dodgers one time this year. They've lost every game that they played, 0 for 7. And now our slugger, Jorge Solar, our new center fielder, Jun Hoo Lee, our starting pitcher that we acquired in trade, uh, still has a sore arm. Jun Hoo Lee has a damaged shoulder, that surgery. Jorge Solar has a concussion. Looks like we're going to try and come up with a slugging star named Encarnacion Gerard, Jerar, Gerard Encarnacion from the Mexican League, who's already had 18 home runs this year. Played with Miami briefly. We're looking for a slugger. We're looking for anybody who can hit, that might hit, that will hit, that's willing to hit. Because everybody on our team could hit, might hit, but doesn't hit. And the rest of them are getting injured at a remarkable rate. We had to call up a catcher because all of our catchers were injured in the same week.
Yeah.
The the rollout for this season right now is it's been an unmitigated disaster. All the acquisitions we made in the offseason have come up mud. They're either hurt, injured list, or just not participating in the game where you have to hit the ball to score runs. So the Giants are an example of good intentions, off-season acquisitions, all of which, each and every single one of them went nowhere. And that's where we are right now, trying desperately to look like a 500 club, which we have not been able to achieve this year.
Well, yeah, it has been very, very, very tough uh, on the Giants. Matter of fact, all the teams that we seem to enjoy, that we root for, that we you and I hold interest in, all seem to not be having a good time. The Seattle Mariners are not having a good time right now. Um, the Mets aren't having such a good time right now. It's it's just a lot of people that aren't having a good time. You know, Mariners probably best out of the bunch because they've raised themselves in the past week to a few games over 500, which is good enough to put them in the thick of things in the American League West. Now I know it's early. I mean, we shouldn't even be thinking about the standings and things at this point.
But if you're
But what
early,
you are seeing
if it's early and
is
you
at least
stink, you
some
got a
guys on that
problem.
team starting to hit, starting to not strike out as much, which right now is what you want to see, right?
Well, the fact that it's early is no comfort to Giants fans because it's early and we stink. And that problem is going to follow us right up through the All Star break and beyond. How come you guys are where you are in the standings? Oh, we used to stink. What about now? Now we're playing 500 ball. We're just where we should be. This is about as good as it's going to get. We lose as many as we win. And then the game of baseball, that's not good enough. That's not good enough to compete. It's not good enough to win. It's not good enough to get you in the playoffs. It's not good enough to get you to the postseason. And so the story of the Giants is, with all their acquisitions and with all their injuries and with all their problems, they are not good enough to beat anybody. They're simply not good enough to pose a danger to anyone. Not with pitching, not with infield play, not with outfield play, not with bingo, not with hit and run, not with runs driven in, not with power. We don't have any of those things.
Yeah, and again, it's we're here in the middle of May, so I don't get too whacked out about where we are, numbers. I more at this point want to see how the stars on the team are doing. Is there somebody on the team who is performing way beyond expectation? Is there somebody on the team who's not performing up to what they should be doing? How are the trades or the acquisitions working out that the team has done? You know, and are they keeping themselves not so far behind, or so that you can conceivably, if you get on a little bit of a hot streak and win 5, 6, 7 games in a row, it'll give you some distance from you in the competition. That's what I look for this time of year, because we all know that you know really until July, that's when you kind of separate the men from the boys, right? I mean, you could be in first
Well,
place now. I saw somebody write somewhere on the internet that, oh, we're in first place. Look at that. We're it doesn't matter. It's
no,
nice. It probably sells a few tickets, but it really doesn't matter, right?
I saw the Denver Nuggets playing basketball. Nikola Jokic, an extraordinary leader, an extraordinary big man, an extraordinary talent. 40 points last night, no turnovers, 18 or 13 assists. This guy is a scoring machine and is a reliable superstar and has so many gifts and so many talents. And you see him single handedly leading his team to victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think they're going to be the champions from the way they're playing right now. And I look at my team, the Giants, or even the Warriors for that matter, if you want to compare teams that are going nowhere. And they have none of those elements. They don't have anybody like that on the team. They don't have any element on their lineup that provides that leadership, talent, skill. And without it, you can't play at the championship level. You can't be a question mark in somebody's mind. Either you are a champion and play like one, or you're not. There's no middle ground. There's no gray area where he showed great promise. We still think we got something here. There's never a doubt in your mind when you see a champion play who's in charge and where the game is going, where the team is headed, what skills they provide. And Nikola Jokic is a good example of that. There's nobody on the Giants who, when at bat or in the field, presents that type of extraordinary combination of gifts and talent and ability. Nobody. They don't have a Willie Mays. The Philadelphia Phillies right now have a lot of talent and they're winning a lot of games. And they look like they're going to win those games. They look like they're going to win games that they lose. The Denver Nuggets is a good example of what I'm talking about. But my team has none of that flair, none of that promise, none of that God given talent that provides you with a championship. And I can't make a stronger case for the fact that some teams have it and some teams don't. But the ones that don't have it never fool you into thinking, yeah, these guys, yeah, when the end of the season gets here, wait and see. We'll put it together. We'll scrape out a win. We'll win with nothing ball, with Billy ball. We'll steal a base. We'll force a situation. And the fact is, that's not how you win championships. You've got to have a team with extraordinary abilities that are reliable day after day, who come to beat you every day that they play. Right now, Denver looks that way in the NBA. The Dodgers look that way in the National League. And in the American League, I don't see an equivalent to the Dodgers right now of a all-star laden team of champions and who pose a threat with every game they play. If
Well,
you don't have
yeah.
that,
Well, I mean,
if you don't pose that threat, you can't win. You can't win the championship.
yeah. I mean, I think the Yankees are there. Even though you hate to say it, but I think the Yankees are in that place where there's a fear of going up against them by almost any other team. I think the Orioles are a way underestimated team, and I think the Orioles are a team that can beat you 6 ways to Sunday, and every time they're out. As a matter of fact, the whole American League Central is teams that, I mean, till you even when you get to you go as far down as the Twins, and everybody's the Guardians are in the lead in the division at 27-16. That's a pretty damn good record. The Royals are 26-18. Yankees are 28-15. Orioles are 26-14. Um, and in the West, it's more it's much more evenly distributed. Mariners are in the lead at 23-20. And remember, they were 5 under 500 2 weeks ago. The and the Rangers are 22-22. Everybody else is below. So I don't think you have that team in the uh, or I think I should let me back up. I think you have several teams in the American League that you probably don't want to play any night. With the Yankees, I think being probably the cream of the crop right now with 28 wins. So, and yeah, I agree with you. The Dodgers have so much star power that it's scary. I mean, and part of the psyche of going in to play a baseball team, really any team, but especially the Dodgers or the Yankees or a team like that, is that they put fear into you. Like you go out there and you make mistakes because of who you're facing. And there was no better way to see that than growing up watching Tom Seaver. I mean, he would force guys into mistakes, swinging at pitches that you should never swing at, um, swinging at a ball that was low in the zone, so you hit a ground ball instead of, sending it to you about belt high where you could swing it and knock it out of the park. And there was a psyche that you didn't want to face that particular team. Same thing in with the Mariners of, I don't know, the mid 90s, or actually the mid 2000s, is there was enough players on that team that you didn't want to face them. Giants of the Giants of the early 2010s, right? Again, another team you didn't want to face because they were so good at almost every position, if not every position. And I don't know the people. I don't know the people. They get so caught up in the stats sometimes that they don't count the psychological factor of you going into a place. That's why I think the Yankees lost so much when they moved from Yankee Stadium old to Yankee Stadium new.
Yeah, the magic was gone.
Right. You went into that old Yankee Stadium, and the ghosts of Babe Ruth and this and that and the other thing were all over the place.
It
You know,
was
you're
they play. It
you're
was the
playing
same
the
field.
center field, and you're saying that and you're on the Kansas City Royals, and you're going, crap. This is the center field that Mickey Mantle roamed.
That Joe DiMaggio played in.
Yeah. If you're a catcher, you're squatting down behind the home plate that Elston Howard and Yogi Berra played at. You go out into the center field, you see those the monuments, and you go, "Good Lord, it's intimidating." Even if you're not a player, even if you're just a fan or a media person, and you go in there, it's still intimidating.
Yeah.
And now it's another building. It's another ballpark that looks just about the same as any other ballpark, except they have the parapet up on top that looks like the old Yankee Stadium. Other than that, it's nothing special anymore. You don't hear ball players today talk about going into, you used to interview ball players. We did it a million times. Going into Yankee Stadium. How much how much did that figure into when you walked in there? And they would tell you to a person, "Oh man, they have the ghosts of the past in here.
When you were a
They
rookie
have
at home plate.
that thing." And the Dodgers still have that. I mean, I don't know that players get as intimidated by Dodger Stadium as they did by Yankee Stadium, but there is a certain thing about you're running out to shortstop, and you're thinking to yourself, "Geez, Maury Wills played out here," or is where Rick Monday played, and he protected the flag, and I mean, you're standing on the same mound as Don Drysdale and Sandy Koufax. Now, maybe a lot of young players don't even know who the hell these guys are, but in a game that has so much juju to it, there's a lot of that's I think sometimes that's a psychological factor. And by the way, while we're all talking about the Dodgers and the this team and that team, um, the Phillies are 30-13
Yeah. And
and
then they're
showing
losing.
no sign of letting up. I mean, I think they're going to finish kicking the crap out of the Mets today, and the Braves are
That's what
not
they
far
did.
behind at
That's what they did to
26
the
and
Giants
13.
too.
I'm sorry.
It's what they did to the Giants too. They kicked the hell out of them.
Yeah, it's another team
One of the
that
aspects
doesn't have a lot of holes in it. Doesn't have a lot of holes, and they play.
something from baseball's past reared its head yesterday with the pitcher for the Houston Astros, Ronel Blanco, got kicked out of the game for sticky substance on his glove. How bush league can that be? They confiscated his glove. They kicked him out of the game because of this combination of sticky stuff that he was using, and the third base umpire saw him do it. Timeout. Let's take a look at that glove. No, this is not right. We're keeping the glove. We're losing you. Bring another pitcher in.
Well, you can't
And
be
that's
too bright these days. I mean, if you're doing that, because they check your glove how many times,
at the end of every inning.
and when you come in from the
Bullpen.
bullpen, they're checking your glove. The home
Mhm.
plate umpire walks out there 2-3 times a game. He's checking the glove and your hands and your bill of your cap. I mean, they're looking for that. They're specifically, and uh, they haven't let up on doing that.
Nope.
So I don't know who slick here thought he was fooling.
He thought he was fooling the third base umpire, but he once again did not. I got nothing to do but stand here and watch what you're doing, and what you're doing has just got you kicked out of the game.
Yeah, they're paying me to watch you.
My job is to watch
They
you.
pay you to sit out here and watch the hitter. Me, they pay to sit out here and watch you. What the heck? Hey, Mikey, you remember when we
Yeah,
used to go to the old Coliseum, the
in
Seattle,
Seattle, yes, I do. Yes,
and
I do.
and we had that great promotion that the Sonics had, and I don't know if it was Janet Magleby that came up with that promotion or not, but I always thought it was pretty cool as they take that blimp
Yes.
before the game and after the game, and they would fly it over the crowd, and they
Right.
would drop envelopes
Hmm.
with prizes, whether gift certificates or go to the team shop and pick up an autographed ball or jersey or whatever it was. But that was how they gave out prizes at games.
Right.
I
I
always
love
thought
the
it was a
blimp.
cool idea, as long as the envelope didn't hit somebody in the head, because that would be
Yeah.
inviting a lawsuit in a town with a lot of lawyers that got nothing else to do. Well, the Mariners have come up with a promotion that is, on one hand, similar, and on the other hand, very dissimilar. Have you heard about this?
No. Tell me, please.
They have put hot dogs on parachutes,
No.
and at certain games,
You drop mustard on your grandma.
they will throw the hot dogs out from the upper deck and let them parachute down onto the crowd. And if you catch the hot dog, you get
You're
to eat
supposed
it.
to. Yeah. Now, where's that hot dog been? You really have no idea.
Well, this is a promotion would make Randy Adamak proud. I'm thinking that because everybody's different over there now, but they call it hot dogs from heaven, and it's
Except
I
they're
don't know
not from
anybody else
heaven.
that's
They're
done
from
this
the
before.
they're from the promotion department. They're not from heaven.
Oh yeah, but I guess they're chucking out 75 hot dogs, and people are going at them like uh, like they're foul balls. I mean, we're eventually gonna have a fight in the stands over a hot dog.
And what kind of hot dogs
Although
are
I
they?
think with the hot dog, you have a better chance of having peace pretty quickly because all you really got to do is say, "All right, I'll break it in half, and you take this half, I'll take that half, and we'll all be happy." Which you
There's
can't do
just
with a ball.
too much handling of the food, is what I say. I'm I'm saying
Well,
we
I don't know. I mean, they probably put it. I mean, they probably handle that hot dog less than the hot dog that's handled from the guy who comes down the island with the box. I would think. I mean, I don't even know if they
What if I don't want a hot dog? What if I want an Italian hot link?
don't jump. Stay in your seat. Go up and drop $19 for a hot link. Go out to Edgar's barbecue out there. Or whatever they've hung Edgar's name on. Yeah, if you don't want it, you don't have to jump for it. It's like a foul
Hot dogs
ball.
are
Certain people that jump for the foul ball, and certain people that say, "I don't
is
want to
this
get
the
my
kind of hot
teeth
dog
bashed in."
that's wrapped? It's got a cellophane wrapper all around it and keeps the bun
Yeah,
soggy.
I would think so, Michael. I don't think they just throw in hot dogs. Just wrap a string around a hot dog and chuck it out. Um, yeah, but and evidently people are loving the promotion. It's making national news. It's I don't know that anybody else has tried this before. The only thing I could think about is when the Sonics used to drop those envelopes from the blimp. And and then you'd have was it Squatch that was shooting t-shirts
Mhm. Yeah,
up into the crowd?
right.
So I don't know that it's I mean, I like the idea of the parachutes, though. I think that's kind of unique. I think that idea of these white parachutes floating down onto the crowd, and then the crowd
Stampeding and trampling one another
picking each other
for
up for the hot dog. I
yeah.
think that's I think that's a completely unique thing. I'm
I
sure
think that
that
I would
some
like to see
drunk
them
is going to get
going
arrested
get hurt. Yeah,
or get hurt going after a hot dog. You've had 4 or 5 beers. Now this parachute comes floating down, and you say, "I need a hot dog," and I really can't get up out of my seat.
I would like to see the Mariner Moose take the bazooka and shoot T-shirts from home plate into the bleachers in the outfield. So you can get an exit velocity, a distance, and
I just I'm sick of that. I know it's a part of the announcers now, and I disdain hearing that exit velocity and
119
launch
miles an
angle.
hour.
Does it matter? Does it matter how fast a ball leaves a ballpark?
Not if it leaves it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You still
Does it
get the
matter
run. It
how
still
hard a
represents
ball
one
is hit
run.
into the outfield if somebody catches it? I mean, it's such a false um, stat to me. It's such a a bullcrap thing.
That was 127 miles an hour. Yeah, but he caught it in left field. Yeah, you could say that, but
Yeah, I just and I mean there's announcers now that lean on that. As a matter of fact, they don't get excited about the call of the home run as much as they do. Oh, that one went out of here at 118 miles an hour. I don't care. I don't. I really don't like. And again, I'm part of a dying breed. You'll have it all to yourselves in a few years. But I just it doesn't ruin the game for me, but it certainly makes the game. It's like nonsense. You, I mean, I'd almost be better off if you told me what kind of cologne the hitter wears.
or how many seconds it takes to do a double play. 5-4-3 double play, the fastest one ever recorded in baseball was 6 seconds, 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Wait, that was 3.2 seconds, the fastest double play of the day.
Yeah, I mean, is that where we're going with these ridiculous stats? That just because you can come up with a stat doesn't mean you got to use it. And I don't know. I think it's I get extremely not upset is not the right word for it, but it's I don't know. It takes some of the enjoyment. I love listening to baseball on the radio, and I get I just get it makes my skin crawl when I hear this launch angle and this angle and that angle, and I don't care about angles. If the guy hits it up in the upper deck, yeah, let me know about that because that's a pretty big accomplishment. Guy hits it out of the ballpark and it falls on the railroad tracks outside the ballpark. That's a pretty decent accomplishment. I don't care that the quickest time that they've ever closed the roof at Safeco Field is 10.9 seconds. It's just my. I guess I'm just being. I guess it's my get off my lawn moment for today.
Hey,
But
your kids get off that roof.
yeah, I just find it one of these. That and the pitch clock. The pitch clock is disturbing to me. And does it make the game go faster? I don't know. I guess you could probably look at the game times and find some kind of stat that'll tell you, yeah, there's less time. I don't know. So anyway, you have 15 to 20 more chances of going to T-Mobile Park and seeing Mariners shoot hot dogs into the sky.
They drop them off the upper deck into the lower deck, so the people in the upper
I
deck have
guess, yeah, I
no.
guess they throw them out of the upper deck.
So if you sit in the upper deck, you can't have a free hot dog ever.
Probably not. They want to. They want to at some point, I think, this year, have a night where they send 100 hot dogs skydiving.
Release them all at once from the upper deck with no warning.
Well, then you'd have to have 110 people out there throwing them.
Yep.
So that means every Mariner staffer, including the manager and some of the players, will probably have to be standing up in the upper deck to toss those hot dogs.
Gives the guy on the injured list something to do with himself during the game.
Exactly. How cool is that? You get up there and there's, I don't know, Dominic Canzone throwing a hot dog out of the upper deck. He's injured. He can't play. All right, report to the upper deck in the sixth inning.
And take these hot dogs with you.
We got a job for you. We got something we want you to
But
do.
these hot dogs are wrapped in plastic and there's moisture inside and the buns are already soggy and there's no mustard and there's no hot sauce. So what are you going to do with these things? Just throw it off the edge. Don't be
Who
bland.
puts hot sauce on a hot dog, Michael? Come on.
I think they put everything on it: pickles, relish, hot sauce, ketchup, mustard.
Hot sauce? I mean, that kind of
You
goes
got
against
you got to do
it
something
goes
to
against established hot dog principles.
you got to mask the taste of that hot dog somehow. You don't want to be tasting the hot dog as a foodstuff.
That would be like somebody putting mayonnaise on a hot dog.
Someone has put mayonnaise on a hot dog.
Who?
I didn't get their name.
I would love you to show me anybody in America that puts mayonnaise on their hot dog. I shouldn't say that because we live in a country where I'm sure that if we look hard enough, if we just go on Facebook, we'll find somebody
Who puts
that
only
puts
mayonnaise
mayonnaise
on
on
it?
a hot
Yeah.
dog. Here in Seattle, they put cream cheese on hot dogs.
And pickles?
Now, I don't know if they put pickles, but the cream cheese on the hot dog is a popular thing here.
Well,
I mean, you
not
walk
not my
down
not to my
Occidental
taste.
there. Yeah. And well, I've actually had it. I've tried it. It wasn't bad. It was different. It's nothing that I think I would order a lot. I'm glad to have said that I tried it. So when I get to the gates of heaven and St. Peter is standing there, he looks at me and he says, "Did you try to explore every possibility in your life?" And I could look at him and say, "Yes, I had a hot dog with cream cheese on it." And St. Peter will probably look at me and do one of two things: say you were a good man, come on in. You opened your mind to you expanded your mind to the beautiful things that can happen in life, or you're an idiot
Did the man in the
and
moose ever shoot a T-shirt to you? Yeah.
put me right down to shooting to hell. Could go either way there.
And
Now,
if the shoot gets sticky, they put a little mayonnaise on the shoot, and you'll be in hell in no time.
yeah, a little mayonnaise on the shoot. Um, by the way, there's another promotion coming that has nothing but disaster written all over it. A collegiate summer league is going to host cosmic games under black lights using a glow in the dark baseball.
What color? Charlie Finley's coming to mind. Is it going to be orange?
I don't know, Michael. I don't know if I'd want to be anywhere near somebody who's hitting a baseball at me. What's the launch angle on that? Yeah, that just has a recipe for disaster. Hitting baseballs at people at 110 miles an hour in the dark just doesn't have a good. It doesn't feel good to me.
And that's collegiate ball.
Yeah, collegiate summer league. So we'll see. The NFL schedules are coming out tonight, Mikey.
Yeah, the New York Jets are going to be playing first Monday Night Football in San Francisco, and so there'll be well, if the Jets' past history is anything to go by, they'll have a quarterback for one game or for one play or for one series, and then bring in the backup.
Yeah, nice. Be nice to see Aaron Rodgers in San Francisco. The Seahawks will go on the road and play the Jets. Besides their divisional opponents, the Jets, the Patriots. I guess they get the AFC East. They've drawn a couple of teams out of. So they go on the road to face the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Bears, the Lions, the Rams, the Patriots, the Jets, and the Niners. At home, they get the Giants, the 49ers, the Vikings, the Dolphins, the Rams, the Packers, the Broncos, the Buffalo Bills, and the
That's a tough
Arizona
lineup.
Cardinals. I haven't been to
That's
a
a tough
football game in
season.
a couple of years, and I think I'd like to go see. I really would love to go see the Buffalo Bills. New York's only team.
I can't remember who's the head coach for for the Seattle Seahawks.
Mike McDonald.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he was just hired this year, and Pete Carroll led him to a 9-8 record last year. But they crapped the bed in the second half and didn't make the playoffs. And then they fired Pete Carroll. Well, they didn't fire him; they keep him around.
He drops hot dogs from the upper deck.
He probably is over there dropping hot dogs from the upper deck. Yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all if they had a couple of Seahawks. Maybe they'll have celebrity hot dog throwers.
I
Or
hope for that.
you could raise money by auctioning off hot dog thrower spots. You want to throw a hot dog? Well, bidding starts at $100. I
What's
mean,
the charity is the bullpen?
well, no, the charity I guess would be the Mariners Care Foundation. You could probably well, let's say if you got $100 a pop and you're throwing out 100 hot dogs, well, that's a nice piece of change for the Mariners Care Foundation. And they give money to a lot of good causes, cystic fibrosis, and a bunch of different charities throughout the year. So might be an idea for them if they're listening over there at on First Avenue. No charge for the idea. Auction off those hot dog spots.
Our celebrity hot dog dropper today is
Well, that's the thing. Celebrities always get to do that stuff, and this would afford the average person a chance to throw hot dogs.
did they throw the hot dog or do they drop the hot dog?
I think they throw the hot dog. I think the
Yeah,
idea is for the parachute to work, you have to get some air under it and throw it.
because the nature of the upper deck is that when you drop it straight down, there's a lot of the ballpark that hot dog is never going to float to.
Well, I would think that to do it correctly, now I don't know this. Maybe we'll have to find out. You have to throw it up, and then it comes down. The chute opens. It floats down into the seats below. But again, I think that leaves a whole lot of people out of
Oh yeah, totally out of it.
the upper deck. Now, if you really wanted to do it fairly, you would release the hot dogs from the roof. You would at the in one inning open up the roof and drop the hot dogs from the roof somehow.
Yeah, now we're talking. Chris is going to land on the field during play.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's got a strong enough arm to throw it from the upper deck to onto the field. If they do, they should be pitching and not. Anyway, so that'll be interesting. I guess if you stick around long enough, Michael, you see a little bit of everything, don't you?
We saw something today that I didn't think we were going to see this year, and that is the Biden and Trump campaigns have agreed to two debates. June
Oh yeah.
27th and September 10th. And I'm surprised that they did. I'm surprised Biden agreed, but he did.
I actually am too, to be honest with you. I don't. I mean, I wouldn't want to go on stage with Trump. You know, there's no way you're going to win. You're not going to convince anybody that's voting for Trump to vote for you, and likewise, you're not going to convince anybody who's voting for Biden to change their mind and vote for Trump. It's just not going to happen.
So somewhere along the line, they've deluded themselves into saying that these debates are going to make a difference, and they may, but they could make a negative difference.
The only thing so far that this debate has done is given Joe Biden the line of the week. I don't know. Did you see Biden accepting the debate challenge?
Mm-mm.
Well, he's accepting it, and he goes on to, um, talk about meeting Donald Trump and talking about, I'll meet you anywhere, anytime, and the tough guy talk, make my day. Well, make my day. I'll meet you any day you want. And then in the final sentence of the announcement, he just leans into the camera and he goes, "Why don't we debate on Wednesdays? I hear you're free on Wednesday." Oh man. And then they're going to debate in what is it? July, June, July. Do we
June
have to
27th
extend?
and
I mean, we
September.
should be shortening this thing.
Well, this will make it shorter. It's going to be a fuster cluck of the first water.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this. I mean, I'll watch it because I'm a political
S- s-
junkie,
Spectacle. It's a spectacle.
but I think it's going to be an embarrassment. I think that you're going to look at these two guys up there and go, "Is this the best we got?" Probably do more to help Kennedy out than anything else. People just say, "I can't vote for either one of these idiots."
Kennedy is not a factor yet, but he
He's
could.
a 13% factor, Michael. He could swing the race in any one of those states that are critical. He could take enough votes away from one or the other. Nobody seems to be
Quite certain
sure
where he's going to get his votes. Yeah.
who he's going to take votes away from, but he's going to take votes away from somebody. And he may do it to different people in different states. There's some states where they think he'll take a lot from Trump.
I saw his interview on MSNBC, and he appeared to be logical and cogent and collected some of the time, irrational and uncompromising some of the time. And when he was asked questions about what he thought about his father and his uncle's legacy and what did they mean to him, how did he feel when he considered their assassinations, he seemed absolutely Kennedy-esque in his answer, but he couldn't sustain one mindset for very long. And it's that and the problems he has with his voice created the image of someone who's not really quite there. And
Well,
it's an unfortunate legacy for the family for them to see someone who's so very much a Kennedy acting so very un-Kennedy like, and it's hard to rectify where that's going to go, and how it can go to a good place seems impossible.
I think you have to. I mean, in some senses, I feel sorry for him because here's a
Right.
kid that lost his old man at a young age. Um, has had well documented problems with drugs. Uh, I don't think he is a. I think he's a well-meaning guy. I don't think he's a you know doing it because he's got an ego and wants to get his ego massaged. I think he's doing it because he really believes in his family's legacy of public service. But he's got some strange ideas.
He's got some
And
strange ideas.
yeah, it seems that he has some strange ideas. And I just don't know. I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see the anti-vaxxers. I just don't see it for him.
He
You
can't
know,
present. He can't present a suitable candidate image. He can't sustain it. He can't tell you what he believes in and what he stands for without creating this impression as this poor guy's not right. He's
yeah,
not really all here.
yeah. And
And it's
unfortunately, a
frightening.
big
It's
well,
frightening because he's such a Kennedy in his looks and his voice and his background that
you
he
know, the
can't
other side of the
sustain it.
coin is. Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, he can't
You know,
sustain it.
neither can Donald Trump. I mean, Trump can't get through a speech without screwing it up,
True enough.
without going off on some tangent.
And what's his thing with Hannibal Lecter lately? He's saying what a wonderful person he is, and Hannibal Lecter did not exist. There is no Hannibal Lecter. It's a character in a movie. Someone's got to tell him. And he
Why?
thinks he's a wonderful person.
Why? Why tell him?
More about Hannibal Lecter, Mr. President. Tell him more. Tell him about the time you met
Tell him he
in the dressing
endorses
room
him.
in the dressing room at Bergdorf Goodman.
Hannibal Lecter would like to let you know that he'd like to endorse you for president.
He's on the line. You want to talk to him?
He's got to give him a minute. He's got to take that hockey mask off.
Put him through. Put him through.
Yeah,
Thank you, Clarice.
it's you know the problem is that people hear something like that and they say, "Oh, well, that's just Donald Trump."
He's joking.
This is the guy you want holding on to the nuclear button, huh? Amazing. Well, Mikey, we made it through an hour and 13 minutes without interruption.
Without technical difficulty or falling ill.
Yeah, so I either fixed what was wrong, which I think I may have, or the Lord is smiling down on us today. I'm going to go with the Lord is smiling down on us because I'm not taking credit for fixing anything because the minute I do, you know what's going to happen. It's going to go belly
And
up.
is he smiling down from the upper deck just prior to
He's
dropping
throwing
the hot
hot
dogs?
dogs.
That's what I thought.
Except the robe's getting away. You know, he's got to get a sleeveless robe. Like the old Cincinnati Reds used to have that sleeveless uniform. Whatever happened to those?
Ted Klaczewski got the last one, and he's in
No,
heaven.
they
That's
were
all he
back
wears.
for a while. The Pirates had them when I first got to Pittsburgh. They used to wear them.
The A's
They were
had
the
him for a while
coolest
too.
uniforms. They had those, you know, the white vest with the black, Pirates shirt under it with the little pirate emblem on the sleeve. I thought it was one of the best uniforms in the major leagues.
With the buckle on the sleeve.
Yeah, the Reds were wearing them for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think of who there was a couple other teams that had them too.
Well, the A's had them years ago, back when they were winning.
Yeah, the A's had them. Actually, if you really go back, I think
Philadelphia A's.
the Reds and the Reds, the A's, the Cleveland Indians, and there was another National League team, wasn't there? The Cubs, not the Braves.
Could it have been the White
Maybe there was
Sox?
only one. Maybe it was just the Reds in the National League. I don't remember. Now that I think about it, out of the original 16 teams, I think it was just the Indians, um,
The Red Sox
the
never wore them.
no, Red Sox never wore them.
Boston Browns might have, but I don't remember what their uniforms
No,
looked
I don't
like.
think the Browns did either. Not. It was just those three teams that wore them: the Reds, the A's.
Indians. A good team that should wear them would be the Miami team. Would look good with the sleeveless uniforms. Did you freeze up, Vinny? Looks like you did. Well, we made it in a minute and 15 minutes, almost 90 minutes. Looks like we're done. I'll see you Friday. If you're watching, uh, Friday morning, 10:10, Mikey and Vinny. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is our schedule. And go Giants, adios. Beat those damn Dodgers. Have a good one, Vin. Love you. Have a great weekend. Thanks for feeling better.